Hiya, folks. I hope you're all well. I appreciate I've not been around much the last couple of weeks, so I just wanted to do a quick video to basically offer a bit of an explanation, um, set the sort of expectations for the sort of coming weeks ahead, and just basically give you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain about what's been going on with me and what the future of the content on the channel might look like. So first of all, thank you to everybody that's been watching, liking, and everything. Whilst I have taken a couple of weeks off from the Chronic Pain Club and things like that, really appreciate it. And it also reminds me at times where maybe I can't always think clearly or see the priorities or how we're helping people. As you know, I do struggle a little bit with the imposter syndrome. I do sometimes worry that we don't have the impact, because who knows, what video reaches who at the end of the chain on a lonely night, and that's maybe the video they needed to see to get them through the day. You don't get that feedback all the while. You'll get the odd comment on video, and obviously you'll get the comments on the live streams, but I think where our content really helps people, we don't get that visibility of what that always looks like. So thank you for everyone who's been doing that in the meantime. But yeah, as I sort of said there, I took a couple of weeks off from the Chronic Pain Club. That's probably going to continue for a couple of weeks. So a massive thank you to all of our guests that have allowed me to reschedule or that are waiting for me to give them new dates. I really appreciate that. But the short answer to what's going on is that everything kind of took off at the same time. Like, I've been doing this advocacy work via content and live streams and Twitch and trying to meet people where they are since 2021, and for a long while that's been a fairly slow burning thing. But all at the same time this year, um, interest in what we were doing here on YouTube, interest in what we're doing on Twitch, our new farming simulator series that aims to get men talking about their mental health has blown up. Everything's taken off at the same time. We launched a charity last year, Psoriatic Disease UK, and we had a 3-year plan for that to sort of tick along until funding came in and we could really start helping people on the ground. That accelerated. We got access to funds far earlier than we expected. We certainly didn't expect that in year one. And I've just come back from the Global Skin Conference in Prague and all this sort of thing. So everything's converged, like years of hard work. So I'm grateful. This isn't a complaint. I'm grateful, but I just wish it was staggered, because years of hard work, everything has gained an interest at the same time. And there's only so many hours in a day and so many plates you can spin. And all of a sudden, I'm not seeing my family. Just to give you a picture of what that looks like, I do advocacy, sort of admin work on a Monday night. I stream on Twitch and now TikTok on a Tuesday night. Wednesday night and Thursday night are my charity. No, Wednesday night's my charity night. Thursday night is supposed to be the evening me and my wife have together, but it's always a 50-50 whether I actually get away from this desk for that to happen. Friday night, I'm back on Twitch and TikTok. Saturday night is the one night I keep free to be a dad and a husband and just be present. And then on Sunday night, obviously, we do the Chronic Pain Club. So all of that's been an issue. Time's been an issue, pressure on my time. I'm now accepting that I'm at a place where I need to start offloading stuff, leaving stuff behind that maybe doesn't have the impact we initially hoped it would. You might have noticed earlier in the year the Pain Company went, which was our awareness t-shirt brand, which it was amazing in the pandemic. It really helped people have conversations, I think, in the pandemic, but the world has moved on and I couldn't justify spending. It was costing me money every month to keep that going. It was another social media account to keep on top of. And if you're on my Instagram and that, you probably noticed I've just fell out of love with the whole social media thing. I've got quite clear views on social media anyway, in terms of like using it for good and using it for helping people. I can't be bothered to do the whole BS required to keep follows and likes and stuff coming in. That stuff doesn't appeal to me. For me, it's about how I'm helping people, how we're reaching people. And I can't be bothered to do the stuff Monday to Friday required to grow like that. I just can't. Like, my time is better served elsewhere with the charity and the advocacy work and the stuff we're doing on Twitch at the minute, which is genuinely helping people feel better about the situations that they're going through. So massive ish job I've got, basically trying to prioritize everything is a real challenge. And it went on far too long, and basically anxiety kicked in, overwhelm kicked in. I got frozen, couldn't make decisions. And sorry, I've got a chest infection in a minute as well. I should have said that a lot earlier. I've got a chest infection, so my voice might get more croaky as it goes on. So all that was going on, and it was taking me away from my family. I barely see, as you can imagine, with that. I also work in the NHS, for anyone who doesn't know, during the day. So basically, I was going from my day job, walking a dog, to advocating, or to streaming, or to running the charity, and it was silly. My son was never seeing me. It was starting to affect our relationship. You could literally physically, like, you could see that he was like getting closer and closer to his mum. He was speaking back to me, and I was, because I'm not there. Like, it was totally understandable. It's not his fault. It's mine. It's something I've got to fix and make time for. I hadn't picked up my guitars in months, so that all had to change. And I've been doing a lot of work on that. But that has meant I've had to stop a lot of things or cancel a lot of things. But also, it's worth saying, and that's an important point in the health space and advocacy space at the moment. At the same time as all this stuff blowing up, which I'm very grateful for, the world is also changing massively in terms of how health is funded and how that trickles down and impacts people like me. I can't afford to pay a podcast editor anymore at the moment. I can't afford to pay anyone to edit my videos. And if I can't afford to, because all the funding's just drying up, we know what's happening with decisions around the world, and people withdrawing from things left, right, and center. Industry and pharmaceutical companies are clearly like tightening their belts as well, because they don't know what the future looks like, particularly in America. And that all has a impact that trickles down, and little old nobodies like me on the ground trying to do things like podcasts and advocacy projects like the Chronic Pain Club talk show, that suffers ultimately. The tap was just turned off, and there isn't even a drip left for people like me, and that's fine. I get that. And I've always said I do this stuff voluntarily and happily. But the issue is, when you take away them things that I used to have to help me manage my time better, I hit, like, just like there was this like point where everything imploded essentially, because obviously if I've got no podcast editor doing the audio editing for me, I've got no one doing the video editing for me. I'm still arranging live shows, but then the backlog of episodes to get out is going up and up. More and more people are emailing me saying, when are you going to release my podcast? When are you going to release, like, and people don't consider that, you might be juggling a lot of things plus a health condition, and unfortunately, people do come on these things to promote something or whatever, and there's time scales involved, and I couldn't meet them anymore. I just couldn't. And it kind of all come to a head. So yeah, I'm trying to put my mental health first. The Chronic Pain Club will take a break. You might have noticed already that the podcasts coming out are going to pause for a little bit. Please do keep letting me know in the comments of these things, if there's still a need, because obviously I'm trying to review everything at the minute and saying, where is my time best spent? So if you're enjoying the videos, if you're enjoying this sort of thing, put it in the comments. If you're enjoying the podcast, go review the podcast, leave a comment, because it's the only way I know if it's helping people. Like, the numbers don't really mean something. You could have 20,000 people watch a video, 10 people watch another one, but if those 10 people all went and got help because of what we talked about, then to me, and maybe I'm backwards compared to everyone else in 2025, but to me, that 10 is more important than the 20,000 views. So it's your feedback, guys, that tells me if this stuff is valued. I'm going to be doing less trips, like, just again, because it's not fair on my son. So I'm really leaning into things like the TikTok and the Twitch streaming at the minute, because it's genuinely helping people. We're doing amazing numbers over there, and I know I just said numbers don't matter, but the difference with live is there people with you in that moment sharing their experiences, so you get that immediate feedback that, okay, this is helping these people, or maybe we need to tailor it a little bit different. You don't always get that when you chuck a podcast out into the world, or you give a talk virtually, or whatever that looks like. So the long and the short of it, guys, because I've nearly gone on for 10 minutes, is I have too much on my plate. I have no social life. I'm not spending enough time with my family. My son barely sees me after school in the evenings, because by the time I finish work and he's going to bed, it's not healthy for me, him, or anyone. I'm doing everything at 5-10% rather than my usual self. So if you see me step back from LinkedIn, and replying to comments. If you see me not doing all the PR BS that I'm not a big fan of anyway, if you see me not checking in on LinkedIn because I have nothing to tell you, I'm not going to do a post saying, "Oh, look at me, I've achieved X, Y, and Z." That doesn't matter to me, that. So that can just sit there. I'll come back to it at some point. If you see the podcast episode releases stop for a little bit, then that's why. I suppose I'm terrible at this sort of thing, but I suppose somebody would tell me at this point I should say, if you want to support us, if you want to help me get those editors back, if you want me to help support the content, keep flowing, then yeah, get in touch. We can talk about that. But for now, I'm doing the things that bring me joy, the things that cause me the least amount of stress, making time for my family, making sure I've got enough time to keep the charity moving forwards. Um, and yeah, and if that means I don't go to ULAR and EADV and all these other things, which cost money, right? And without sponsorship and funding, my family can't take that hit. We've spent thousands over the years, these mics, the cameras, the lights, the trips, the travel insurance, the hotels, that stuff all costs money. And if we can't even get funding to pay for like the ticket or whatever to go to a EULA or whatever, that's just not worth it. My family have sacrificed so much for me to do this work. Every time I go live on a Tuesday or a Friday or a Sunday night, it's my wife putting my son to bed, dealing with the dog, watering the plants, also moderating the comments, keeping everyone safe. And, it's a big family effort and they've suffered a lot the last year. This is our first year since Dylan has been 2 years old that we can't afford a holiday. So he's not going on his usual seaside holiday, which broke my heart having to tell him that. So how can I keep traveling around and doing what I do if I can't even provide my family with a holiday this summer? So that's got to change. So essentially I'm prioritizing. It's sad to say because I'm an advocate and I always want to help people, but I'm prioritizing what brings money in. I'm prioritizing what values my time. I'm prioritizing the charity that I'm so proud to have founded. But basically, if you drop in my inbox, guys, asking me to do stuff for exposure, well, that would wind me up anyway. But even more so, no, it's going to be a no. If you ask me to do projects that have zero impact, it's going to be a no, like a tick box sort of thing. If you ask me to do something that isn't at my fair market value, my values, my expertise, then unfortunately I need to be spending that time elsewhere. Because if I can do something for 2 or 3 hours and it pays the same for something that maybe is going to take up weeks of my time or take me out of the country, then there's only one winner at the minute, unfortunately, and that is the world we've been forced to live in. It hurts me. It goes against, you know, how I started on all this journey. But yeah, we are in a horrible position at the minute with health funding, charity funding. It's tough for everyone. And so ultimately, if it doesn't pay the bills in order for me to then give my family those things like holidays and stuff, then I can't do it. I just can't. As a dad, as a husband, I can't do it. So we'll still be on Twitch, guys. We'll still be on TikTok with the live stream stuff. So it's at Joel versus Arthritis on Twitch, at JVA Streams on TikTok. All the stuff on this YouTube channel is still there for you to look at and enjoy. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of content. So go digging around in there. But like I say, if you're looking out for new podcast episodes, new Chronic Pain Club talk show episodes, that sort of stuff is gonna just take a bit of a break. It'll be back. I'm too passionate about this stuff to stop. I can't stop. I've been doing this 6 years now. I couldn't stop if I wanted to. But I do need to start valuing my time a little bit more and stop trying to help everyone because I can't. And if I burn out, then nobody gets anything, including my son and my wife. So hope that makes sense, guys. I hope that come across right. Like I always worry that like talking about finances in the same sentence as advocacy has always felt very dirty to me as somebody that came from this as a place of a volunteer and as an advocate. But unfortunately, this whole thing has grown now, and it is a business. It is a business, and there's lots of other people out there trying to make money out of stories like mine, and I'm done with that. I need to start putting myself first a little bit more. So come find me on those other platforms. Come say hello. See how we're doing things a little bit differently to help people, and put a smile on people's faces. And like I say, if you enjoy all this stuff here on YouTube, keep subscribing. I think it's going to come again. but I've just got a few funding issues to sort out. And like I say, if you don't see me at ULA this year, if you don't see me at EADV or all the usual things you might see me at, an IFPA forum or whatever, ultimately, guys, I'd want to be there. I want to be there, but if it's not financially viable, if I can't find funding for it, if it isn't worth the time that I'm away, then it has to be a no. And just be mindful, I suppose, that keep messaging me about me not being there and missing me and stuff. Although I appreciate the sentiment, hurts as well. Like, so when I say no to these things, like, yeah, just be mindful of the messaging because I want to be there. I don't want to stop. But yeah, ultimately, I've also got to pay the bills and keep all these lights on. So, thank you for your time, guys. Sorry this has gone on way too long. I appreciate you listening if you're still with us at this point. Thank you for all of the support over the last 5 or 6 years. Here's to the next 5 or 6 years. But right now, I need to take some time for myself, my family, to get my priorities right and be back stronger. Is that what they say at this point? I think that's what they say at this point. Anyway, thanks guys. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.